So it is. We do welcome our dear friend and Catholic minister ordained in 2008. It's Darcy Davis Beejan as she checks in with her wonderful message tonight, which we're looking forward to. Catholic minister, as I just mentioned, a teacher, musician, life coach, combining her studies of world philosophies, Catholic training, and practices of mind, body, and spirit connection. Darcy teaches the invisible side of success in alignment with universal laws. For over 30 years, she has worked as a teacher, speaker, workshop leader, and singer. Retirement is on the horizon for Darcy as she winds down that teaching career, but the teaching, the singing, and the music will definitely continue as she winds that wonderful teaching career currently, or most recently, of third through eighth graders in Arizona. Whether teaching or coaching, she empowers others to manifest their dreams through transformative thinking and decisive action. Darcy's experiential, fun style invites people to ignite their passion, power, and purpose for living. And that's all part of what's on store for you tonight. Whose song will you sing is Darcy's topic. And I think there's a song based around that too, if I did remember correctly. And maybe we'll even hear it tonight. It's a couple of bars of that.
Whose song will you sing? Whose music will you follow? Do you feel life's rhythm tremble deep within? Whose voice do you hear? Does it leave you whole or hollow? Trust yourself, know your heart, sing your song. I wrote and recorded this song back in the 1990s, and it's still one of my favorite compositions. In fact, I had the pleasure of working with our own Linda Masad on that recording of that CD, and I will forever be grateful for her creative input and musicianship on that album. It was such an empowering and fun experience. At the time, I had no idea how powerful the lyrics would be for me in my own journey and life's work. The lyrics have become a metaphor for me since that time. Still healing from the broken heart following a divorce, I was inspired to dive deeply into myself, to acknowledge the responsibility that I held in that marriage, and then the responsibility to myself, to my journey, and to my children. I realized I needed to start digging deeper for what was meaningful to me in order to grow. Instinctively, I knew that powerful answers come from high-quality questions. We learn so much from ourselves when we ask the big questions. In our busy lives, we don't always stop long enough to ask the questions and then feel those answers. When I ask questions with the intent to discover more about myself, I am compelled to slow down, to really think about how I will honestly answer the question. In this song, music is the obvious metaphor for me. Perhaps it resonates with you as well. We all have our favorite kinds of music, special songs that touch us personally. Music is often a significant backdrop to different stages of our journeys. You each have a soundtrack to your life. You hear a song on the radio or on your playlist, and you are immediately transported in time and place back to the memories and the emotions. You can see the people who were with you. You recognize the backdrop of that experience. Sometimes it feels as if it just happened yesterday. Why? I believe it is because music moves our hearts in the direction of our true selves. So let's unpack the meaning behind the phrases in the chorus of this song to reveal some simple but not always easy to discover truths. When you ask yourself, whose song will I sing? Look carefully at the repetitive words of your favorite songs. These are the affirmations that you are putting out into the world. You're adding the energies of the notes and the melody of the music, as well as the emotions that you feel as you sing or hum along with the music. We have all been there, listening to music that supports the feelings we have, like perhaps when a relationship ends. You know the songs, the "You Done Me Wrong" song that helps you process the sadness or the anger that you may be feeling at the time. I just caution you about how long you stay in the energy of the music that doesn't serve you in the long term. Music affects us physically and emotionally. Much research has been done documenting the results of music's effect on our physical bodies. We are all probably aware of how blood pressure can be altered by different music. Relaxation can be increased and anxiety reduced by various musical meters. Even newborn babies can be soothed by music that emulates the rhythm of their mother's heartbeat. Pay attention to the music you listen to. Does it align with your core values and the best version of yourself? Does the music complement the energy that you want to bring into your world? Research tells us that playing music can alter the plasticity of the brain. Plasticity is how well we adapt to change, because music is one of the few activities that utilizes the whole brain. I believe it is even more important to pay attention to those musical choices. Whose music will you follow is the second question in the song. In ancient China, Emperor Shun set out each year to assess the kingdom to ensure that everything was in order throughout the land. His method might be different than what you might expect. It didn't involve auditing the books, observing the conditions of the people, or interviewing the regional officials. The ancient Chinese believed that there was a more revealing, accurate, and scientific way to assess the state of a nation. Emperor Shun gathered the local musicians and checked the exact pitches of their musical notes as they sang and played their instruments. Ancient Chinese philosophy believes that music was the basis of everything. If different regions of the country were playing different pitches in their folk songs, one could conclude that differences would come between the people, threatening their harmony and unity. To me, this really speaks about our true selves. Will we follow our own music or inner guidance, or that of an outside influence? Do we trust the inner workings of our spiritual path, or do we doubt our own intuition and look to the experts to decide our life choices for us? Our inner music calls to each and every one of us, yet distractions can mislead us and throw us off our course. Our music is that spiritual link to the oneness with the Creator. That music is inherently a part of us, born in the heart of heaven and expressing as each one of us, as unique as a snowflake. The music is in us. Music brings you home to yourselves because your music is you. The next question of the chorus asks, whose voice do you hear? Does it leave you whole or hollow? This is a particularly important piece of the puzzle. There is power in the song that you listen to and follow, and that then affects the voice with which you resonate. Are you most connected to your true spirit, that spirit voice within you, the voice that cries in the wilderness, the voice that has your back, the voice that leads with love, the voice that discerns what is best for you. We are well aware of the importance of self-talk and what role it plays in our energy and the energy we put out into the world. When you heighten your awareness as to the inner voice you hear in your daily life, you become better attuned to the creative power in the word. I don't know about you, but I have had quite a few different inner voices throughout my life. I don't mean the kind of voices that might suggest extensive therapy. I mean the type of voices that sound characteristically like authority figures that I have encountered throughout my life. You know the voices. The critical voice of a possibly well-meaning teacher. The fearful voice of your childhood self who experienced a shame-inducing event. The berating voice of a parental figure who once warned you, do not do XYZ. I lovingly and jokingly refer to these voices as the committee, since it's taken me decades to train them not to weigh in on every aspect and decision of my life. I like to say, God so loved the world that he did not send a committee. I recently came across a poem by an unknown author who explains it well in the poem, The Tone of Voice. It's not so much what you say, it's the manner in which you say it. It's not so much the language you use as the tone in which you convey it. Come here, I sharply said, and the child cowered and wept. Come here, I said. He looked and smiled, and straight to my lap he crept. Words may be mild and fair, and the tone may pierce like a dart. Words may be soft as the summer air, but the tone may break your heart. For words come from the mind grown by study and art. But tone leaps from the inner self, revealing the state of the heart. Whether you know it or not, whether you mean it or care, gentleness, kindness, love, and hate, envy, anger are there. Then would you quarrels avoid and peace and love rejoice? Keep anger keep anger nor only out of your words, keep it out of your voice. Our voices are sound vibration because it's all energy. We're energy. What we put out there is energy. What frequencies are the words you speak, and what energies do you evoke? Reflect on how you speak to yourself. What tone do you use when you make a mistake? Are you harsh with yourself, calling yourself names? If you practice changing the tone of your voice towards yourself and others, you will immediately notice a positive change. I know this is not news to you, but it is a gentle reminder because I know how easy it is to fall into self-criticism and condemnation when I miss the mark. Words of kindness begin with us. My mom used to say charity begins at home. So that can be well applied here as well. When we practice a kind tone with ourselves, it will become a habit that ripples out to others around us. It then becomes the voice that leaves us whole and never hollow, as the song goes. Hamid Bey makes reference to this in his writing, about the creative power of sound. He said, every part of our physical body reacts to sound, reacts to words, reacts to everything. When music is being played, there is an emanation of color or colors corresponding to the sound. Each center of our spinal column responds to the colors vibrated by the music. He goes on to explain that the music in turn affects different parts of our physical bodies. And this is why certain kinds of music can be so healing. As you embrace your song, your music, and your voice, the song reveals that you are strengthening your abilities to trust yourself, know your heart, and sing your song. Trust is developed over time. Discerning what is best for you and taking action builds more trust. Trust is one of my soul issues this time around. I've learned that I can better trust myself and my intuition when I focus on harmonizing my thoughts with my heart. When my thoughts and heart become one and work in tandem, I'm more gentle and loving with myself and issues that come my way. I find more patience and fortitude as I work things out and solve life's problems. I have sometimes had to venture out into that thin branch of fake it till you make it to convince myself that my ideas and choices are worthy of my own trust. Does any of this sound like yourself? Do you have issues where you don't always trust your inner guidance? Let me tell you this. It hasn't always been easy, but I do promise you, it's been worth it. When I trust myself, I love myself. So I encourage you to build those muscles of trust for yourself, because that is another way of self-love and self-care. Trusting that inner God guidance that is speaking to you, speaking within you, sometimes shouting at you to get your attention. Ever been there? That inner voice is shouting to you, hey, look over here, and you're thinking you need to be in this direction because of duty or obligation, instead of just knowing, oh gosh, I'll have to change courses here. It'll be embarrassing that I admitted that maybe this wasn't the right thing to do. Trust yourself, know your heart, and sing your song. When you trust yourself, when you know your heart, then you can truly sing your song. You become more fully in tune with the music that is your life. I loved how Rose tied in the teachings of Hamid Bey without necessarily knowing where I was going with this talk. This was really about our spiritual life with music as a metaphor. You have a deeper awareness of what is yours to do and who and how you will serve. I believe this is the secret to that spiritual life that Rose talked about with Hamid's words. So let's recap these simple lessons of truth laced throughout this song. Number one, start with an empowering question. The higher the quality of question, the better and the bigger the quality of the answer. You will never develop a question in which God has no answer. If you have that question, the answer is already a possibility. If we truly are all one, a part of the collective divine consciousness, the answers are already there for each and every one of us. I found that asking questions that start with what work well. What could I do with what I have right here and now? And I had to develop the courage to start asking some of those questions, because my tendency is to quickly just go right to, oh, how can I do that? That is not a very empowering question when I ask myself how questions, because you and I both know if we knew how to do it, we'd be doing it, right? So asking questions that start with what? What could I do with what I have right here and now? Number 2, whose song will you sing? This is a question that speaks to your purpose, to your dreams, the dreams that you're trying to manifest and bring into realization. Or it could be speaking about a cause that is near and dear to your heart, calling you to take action. Number 3, whose music will you follow? This question asks for directions as to what action steps might best serve your purpose, your dream, or your cause. And then number 4, whose voice do you hear? This question reminds you to listen to your inner voice, your inner wisdom, or the voices of those that you trust with the sacredness of your dream. And I want to make a really clear point on that. Your dreams are sacred. So be very choosy and discerning as to whom you share those dreams of your heart with. If you're feeling resistance, ask for more information. One of my favorite prayers is, please reveal more. Please reveal more. Okay, I'm still not getting it. Please reveal more. Then check in with your heart and allow any fears or hesitation to bubble up. Your heart will never lie to you. So the feelings are there to be felt, to bring you more clarity. We are all one, connected with the ability to harmonize and participate in this divine symphony called life. We each have an integral part to play. So I invite you to step fully into the music within. Trust yourself, know your heart, sing your song, and thank you.
Wonderful.
You. You.
No, what? Big question of what?
You're on
And what made you move to Arizona?
You gotta speak closer to the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is that better now?
Now we can.
All right. All right. Do the extreme close-up. Thank you, Darcy. That was a wonderful message.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The questions of what? And yeah, big one. You moved to Arizona. What was? How did you?
Well, what was the cause to come to Arizona?
Yeah.
Well, my heart called me to Arizona through my grandson, who was 2 years old at the time. And Jim and I said, well, we don't know when we're going to go or how we're going to get there, but we put that out. We just put it out into the universe. And And that was in September. We were out here vacationing in Sedona, and we were talking with my in-laws who live out here in the greater Phoenix area. And Jim said, well, we're planning on moving out there. And my mother-in-law laughed. Oh, she laughed, and she looked at me, and she looked at Jim, and she looked at me, and she looked at Jim, and we weren't laughing. And he said, no, really, we don't know when, but we will be heading that way at some point. And we went back home, and Jim said, the only way we can do this is if you go first. You go out there and find a teaching job, and then I'll hang back to secure the finances, and then I'll follow you. And so October, I started looking. I thought I was researching jobs, but I said, oh my gosh, there are hundreds of teaching jobs out there in October, which is so unusual because in the Midwest, we don't do mid-year hires. They do it all the time out here. Should have been a clue. But anyway, should have been a clue. But I didn't want to do an online thing without talking to a human being. And so I ended up finding a school district where I could actually talk to a human being. She said, oh my gosh, send us your things. And I talked with like an assistant superintendent. She put me in touch with the principal at the school that had the overcrowding situation who needed somebody ASAP. I talked to her on Halloween, had an interview that she hired me the next Wednesday. She said, I need you in 2 weeks. I can't wait till Christmas. I need you before Thanksgiving. And I said, yes. So that's how quickly things can move if you step into it and stay with the flow. We had no idea how we were going to get out here, but God knew.
The music took you to Arizona, and you followed the divine flow of things, and it just fell into place. That's
Absolutely.
thank you
Yes.
for sharing that and your message tonight. It's
Yeah.
spot on in so many different directions, and not just the music, but all areas of our lives. We saw what you sing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darcy.
You're welcome. Thank you, Michael.
Any other comments or questions that you'd like to share those with us tonight?
I thought her presentation was outstanding.
Thank you, John.
So multifaceted and multidimensional. And not only all facets of our being, and just to accept the total positive life that you proposed. It was fantastic. Standing ovation.
Oh, thank you so much. I love how Rose's, choices of passage, it always works that way, right? Life is rigged in our favor and everything works out for us. When you let your heart lead, and it just kind of directs you to, what you need to choose, like for a reading, what you need to do, choosing a job, what your next step might be. When it's time to retire, those kinds of things,
I didn't get on until 6 o'clock, and so I wondered, are you saying that you're retiring?
Yes. I retired in May. The end of May was it, and I'm really happy because tomorrow my colleagues start school with kids, and I don't.
Wonderful!
Yeah, I have a date with a few closets around my house that are saying, "Help me, we're drowning."
Oh, wonderful!
Happy retirement.
Congratulations!
Thank you. Still working, still my spiritual work is still always front and foremost. And Nancy had asked me if I was still life coaching. I'm not pursuing that directly, but I still work with clients who are interested in, a little catch up or touching base and things like that. So I still got my foot in the door. And of course, I'm still speaking. So still doing my ministerial
Yeah.
work.
Are you singing?
No, not at this point. No, I don't really have any venues. And of course, with COVID and everything, I haven't pursued that.
Mhm.
In the privacy of my own home, I sing. Or on this call.
It was lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, your talk was very emotional for me because some of the things you've been through I also have been through. And so really meant a lot to me. Your talk did.
Thank you, Rose.
Okay.
Time certainly flies, doesn't it, Darcy? Jeez. 90s with music is timeless, and thank you for really going into the lyrics. You know, you hear these songs and they have meanings for you, but then when you hear the artists like yourself, you dive into it, and this is what it means to me, and correlating to Master Holidays teachings. Thank you for
You're
sharing.
welcome.
It's wonderful.